along. Am I doing that? But I do want people to be able to comment if they, or, would like to allow for discussion. So first of all, as you can see, there's three options here, and the first and biggest, I guess, monetarily for us anyway, is the parking lot. The what? The parking lot. So the motion is to approve the expenditure of $50,000 to replace all current asphalt surfacing in our parking lot. That means this up top plus the road down. The background, I'm just going to read it. Everybody has the same information. Current asphalt paving is over 25 years old with significant severe wear and tear in various areas. The professional assessment is that we can repair for about $35,000, but will then be repairing again within several years, or we can replace for $50,000. The advisory board recommends replacement. You recall, been here for a while, the road in the back that goes down to the back. For the last several years, Terry and Rick were cold patching that to kind of keep it going. And we're at the point now where there's a piece that's worn out on the side that's about 2 feet wide. So that's beyond a cold patch repair. And if we just had to resurface, it would be $12,000 less than a full replacement. But within a couple of years, we'd have to be either looking at full replacement again, or else looking to resurface again. So the second bid for this project, our bid that we want to go with is about $50,000. The second bid for this project is $69,000, so it's any more. Monies are available through a combination of cash on hand and investment funds. So this is not something that we're going to end up, if we go to do this, that we're going to end up with bills to pay. It'll be taken care of through a couple of different means. D&H Asphalt, the vendor of choice, was recently used by Gretchen's House for a $100,000 asphalt project. Gretchen's House has a lot of experience with them, and they also are doing another part of another motion, some asphalt for them. So the timing of this would depend on whether or not the adjacent sidewalk repairs should be done before asphalt replacement. So we're working on that part. We know that there's at least a couple of blocks of sidewalk along the memory garden on this side that need to be replaced, and we're working on getting bids for that and finding out if we can get that done before the driveway. So that's the motion. Does anybody have questions or discussion about this?
I move that we accept this proposal. Second.
Okay, we have Sherry moves to accept the motion, and I'm seconding it. We don't have our clerk here today, so I'm just gonna. It's all gonna be recorded. So all those in favor of accepting this motion, by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same signal. And as we said, this passed in here, we're going to allow people 24 hours once we get this posted to vote yes or no. Okay, thank you. The second motion we're going to move right into. So this is a motion that's more of a concept. The concept of a 5-year lease with Gretchen's House. We don't have that worked out, the details of it worked out yet. However, the leader, Gretchen Preston, who owns Gretchen's House, and Terry and lawyers on both sides have been talking about what that might look like. So the background of this, Gretchen's House has been renewing an annual contract with Northside for several years now, and would prefer the stability of a longer lease, particularly as they begin investing money in physical improvements. With the assistance of attorneys, a lease is currently being negotiated that intends to fundamentally preserve the current nature of the relationship between the two organizations. The term of the lease would be 5 years with an escape clause which would allow Northside to decide annually if if it wants to terminate the lease without cause, but would require that Gretchen's House be given 12 months from the date of termination notice to find a new location and vacate premises. It's always possible to terminate lease for cause. So if we decided right now that we wanted them to move out, we have to give it until the end of the next school year, basically, September of 2023. So again, approving this is approving it in concept. When it is all said and done, that's another, or when the details work out, that's a separate issue, but, or a further issue. But this is agreeing that in concept, we approve of this. And I guess the only thing that I would note beyond that is that, as it says in the background here, Gretchen's House has already been here for several years, and we've had little bumps here and there, and particularly when we also had another congregation that had more kids and that kind of stuff, and we had kind of some issues to work out, but we have worked very well together. And actually, that's one thing that the lawyers for both parties have pointed out, that everybody gets along so well. So, does anybody have any questions or discussion on this motion? Would anybody like to recommend the motion be accepted? And second?
I'll second.
Two. All those in favor of accepting this motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And the third motion is to approve Gretchen House upgrades of Northside facilities at no cost to Northside, specifically the removal of non-load bearing nursery walls. So that's the two walls that are drywall or whatever they are, on one side they're paneling. The replacement of fellowship hall flooring and modest expansion of asphalt behind the back door. So these are things we had talked about in an earlier, I think our last congregational meeting, that we had adopted, or we have adopted an agreement with Gretchen's House that if we say right now we want them to leave by the end of next year, and all of these improvements will not be used. But in the past, we had said if certain improvements were made or changes were made that they paid for, and we asked them to leave before 5 years is up, then Northside would be agreeing to take over the money aspect of those things. They're not, if you do it within 5 years. These items do not fall in that. They're paying for these improvements with grants and that kind of thing, and so this is at no cost to us. This is simply us saying, we agree that you can make changes to the building in this way. There's one thing that actually is not listed in here, which is they want to add a sink, and they want to do that in the kitchen, where there's a sink that's covered by the entrance to the boiler room, and they want to either add a sink there or else replace the sink that's there with a trough sink. So there either be two sinks on that wall or else one trough sink. So that is one additional thing that we make it into there. I'm sorry, I had proofreading. The other things are, and then basically the nursery room would no longer be a nursery. It would be further things to be opened up to where the fellowship hall will be pretty much fully opened up except for the other classroom, which we're now using as a storage area. And then the fellowship hall flooring, that's, if anybody wants to take a look at it, and they put this in their other centers, and they are very happy with it in other centers. And then to increase the asphalt space in the back so that it's more usable. And actually will kind of improve things out there, and they will handle nursery kinds of things, the trees, and which are mostly scrubby things back there in order to accomplish that. So the background, the removal, I said, so this, the removal of the two non-load bearing nursery walls essentially removes the nursery and opens up the fellowship hall. The Fellowship Hall, I don't know, it's never been replaced, its age reduces the possibility for the maintenance and appearance, and we all can attest to this, as the cleaner of such, and, basically this would be put on top of what is down there. Expansion of the asphalt parking space out the back door will allow for more play activities that require car service. And as I said, they'll be using grant money to accomplish these, so there's no future or present cost from our side. Really us saying yes, it's okay to do this.
I agree with so.
I think I have this.
Okay, so the flooring there, would that do all the way up in the bathrooms and everything in the downstairs? Are they stopping at the fellowship hall?
That actually is a good question. I know, I would have said the whole floor. So I think it goes into the back and into the floors, or into the bathrooms and everywhere. I think it's the whole downstairs.
If not, can you ask?
Yeah, that's good. I will check on that. That is a good question. I'm not positive about that. It's the whole, it's for sure the whole area from that hallway and back forward. Okay. Sure.
So the Yost room will remain intact. They won't be flooring that though.
I don't think so, no. They won't be ripping out the carpet in the Yost room.
Oh, but the Yost room will remain ours.
Yes, yes,
And so we can meet in there.
yes.
Or other, we'll make it work. If we have, well, our children are down there already. So,
And we can still use the space down there as we have, so the Yost room will remain as it is, so yes, that answer to that question. And we've gone back and forth about that because Reggie's house wanted a place to put the person who's directing this location. And so, one of the things they talked about was putting a desk in the Yost room, but what they agreed, or what finally happened, is they put a desk in the storage room. So, if you take a look, if you're down there, it's actually, it was kind of better than I would have thought. We all agreed that we would, we have some things lining, we have a couple of cabinets, and so we have nothing in the middle, and then they have a desk down there. So they will be doing nothing in the Yost room. It will remain as is. We know that there's some stuff in there that needs to be removed right now, but, and we still have the ability to use downstairs basically the way that we see fit. One of the reasons that Crescent's House fits with us well is that their programming is Monday through Friday during business hours, and ours is mostly other times. And in terms of other people using that space, we generally stop letting people do recital receptions downstairs and stuff. So,
but we can still.
yeah, when we have things going on, and we know last year we did one funeral in the middle of the week of the day. We worked out with them as well. Yeah. Does someone, want to motion?
Hey, Ann, can you guys hear? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Hi, sorry, I joined up. You guys have already started, so apologize for that. Is there a priority setting for use of the fellowship hall if it happens to be a potential conflict in time? The thing I think about is like a memorial service or something like that. Would Gretchen have priority of that space versus Northside?
Okay, thank you, Dennis. The question is, who has priority if we want to use the fellowship hall, for example, if we wanted to use it for a memorial service at a time when Residence House usually has programming, who has priority? And I think I would say, based on what we have done so far, is that we work with them. We will, I think, avoid trying to do that. We will try to plan things so that they're on Saturdays or in the evening. However, we did one and we ran up against them and there was a plan. We had a plan. We ended up being able to leave before and get things cleaned up before Gretchen's house came in, but they had a plan. We had a plan with them that they would start out with their kids outside and as we were getting things cleaned up. So there's not a strict plan about that, but that's how we've dealt with that so far. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Andy?
Gretchen's house has more than one location, so they can be flexible. This wouldn't be their only option. So it's quite possible that anytime we make a request, that they could find a way to accommodate us.
And we found that to be true also. Thank you, Andy. Any other questions? Comments?
I do have one more.
Okay.
Sorry, you may have covered this. The expansion of the asphalt is, so if you were walking out of the garage, how would that asphalt be expanded, to the left or up further toward Traver?
Really in all directions that it can be. It would go a couple feet out if you're looking towards Traver, and then a little closer to the building. And the closer to the building is what might affect some small trees, some of which are not what do you call them, travelers, or they're not trees that anybody planted. They self.
Okay. But they're, yeah, you mean those weeds, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. But there's no plans to remove that big tree that's further. I mean, if you were walking.
Back door?
Yeah.
That one I'm not positive about, but their plan was to replace everything that they had to remove with, something similar. So if they had to replace that one, they might put another one just outside the asphalt.
Okay. And this was just a separate question. I know there was talk about this last month. Are they planning on adding another gate to
Yes.
the fence? Okay.
Yes, I talked to Gretchen about that, and so, and we talked about adding a gate on that side, so on the Barton side, and it will be somewhere between the fence, or the sign and the next group of trees, so there's the sign, a group of trees, and then some space and another group of trees up at the corner. And so looking at it, we felt that too close to the corner wasn't very level. And so we thought that somewhere between the sign and the first group of trees was more level and would be more useful.
Okay. And just related to that, would there be a pathway through the grass to get to that gate, or just people just walk on the grass?
People would just walk on the grass.
Okay.
We didn't plan a pathway. We could.
Bigger gate will be where?
There's a bigger gate. There's a 16-foot gate at the back. So you could swing that open and pull cars in.
Okay, thanks, Ann.
Sue, you want to recommend that motion be accepted? Yeah. Okay. And a second? Okay, all those in favor of accepting this motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that is it.
Cupcakes in the back.
Cupcakes in the back. Thank you, everybody.
There's other stuff too.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Catherine.